network connection. If we could just get rid of that, that's okay.
Hi, good morning. My name's Haiti, and I'm blessed and grateful to be in recovery.
And I'm Dr. Felice Cellini, and I am blessed and grateful to be in recovery. And welcome to our Sunday morning Why Wait for Recovery community group. And I am an alcoholic, drug addict, anorexic. And welcome. Thank you for being a part of my recovery, everybody.
And I am an emotional indulger.
She's a sultan. Right.
So I'm a compulsive overeater. I'm a food addict. And I am so grateful to be, and I'm a drug addict in recovery. And every week we get together to discuss not so much what we did or how we got here, but what we're doing to stay in recovery and the challenges we face and the methods we use, and to just meet up heart to heart so we're able to keep working our program and be happy and joyful.
Yeah, and to get rid of some of that fear. Good morning, Laura. It's nice to see you. To get rid of some of that fear and to move forward in our recovery so that we can actually learn to be, as they say, happy, joyous, and free. And this morning we're going to talk about, did you have something else to say?
Yeah, I do. I just want to say a couple of things. One is we are not affiliated with any of the programs. This is just our stories and what we do as friends in recovery to get well. We also, our big thing is being in community. We live stream on Facebook and on Google Plus and on YouTube. We have people from all around the world joining us on the conversation. If you join us on Facebook, we can't hear you. If you join us on Zoom, you can jump into the virtual room with us. You can do that now. There is still space. We have people from all over the world. It is fabulous, and all over the country. It doesn't cost anything, and we'd love to hear you.
We would. And today we'd love to hear what you have to say about judgment. So we've been talking about judgment because we're all so judgmental, even when we say that we're not judgmental, but you know we really are, right? So we look at the world through our own eyes, and we compare ourselves to others, and we compare our situations to others. And we're going to remember that actually as we're doing that, even that is all fear-based, right? I'm going to judge you because you have more than I do because I'm afraid. You know, fear, you guys, is I'm going to lose what I have, or I'm not going to get what I want, right? And so if I'm judging you or I'm jealous of you, it's because you've got something that I'm afraid that I'm not going to get, or that's something that I have that I'm afraid that I'm going to lose. And like I said, behind every negative feeling is always going to be that element of fear. And so, I don't know if you want to like go around the room, have everybody check it. What would you like to do this morning, Haiti?
So are you asking me to judge what you're saying?
No.
And give my perspective?
No, but
I absolutely, I love the subject because this is all that's been resonating with me over the last couple of days is my ego and being on this platform and looking down at the world from my perspective, and it's not up to my standard.
And let me tell you something about your ego. So you guys, ego is what I think your opinion of me is. And when I'm walking around and what's driving me is my ego, it's because instead of following my gut and doing what it is that I think is best for me, instead I'm doing or acting or presenting in a way that I think you're going to see me the best. And so there's no thank you. I'm not authentic like that. Authenticity. There's no authenticity like that. And so I'm just going to present so that Karen could look at me and say, wow, isn't Felice so great? And she's so wonderful. And look at what she's doing. As opposed to showing up and presenting the way that I am and who I am. And maybe allowing myself to be a little bit vulnerable. And allowing people to see. And just going on what my gut is telling me is the right thing to do. No matter what I think you're going to think of me. Because at the end of the day, if you like me, if you leave here today and you say, wow, those girls were so amazing and God must have put them on the couch and they were there and I was in the room and it's so awesome. Or if you leave and say, those girls are crazy and that one doesn't stop talking and that one's an idiot and that one doesn't know what she's talking about. It's not about us. Right? It's about you and how you view the world. And so the only thing I have control over is myself and how I present. And the world will accept me or not accept me the way that it is. Right? What comes from me comes from me. The way that you view it doesn't have anything to do with me.
And you know, and that also triggers something. So no matter what you think of us as well, is our day still carries on the way that it's going to carry on, irrespective of what you're thinking or I think of you. I still do the things I was going to do, and I'm oblivious to whatever those thoughts are, even if you tell me, I'm either able to take it on or not, or just go, well, Felice is having a really bad day. She thought badly of me, or whatever that story is. But
Right.
my day carries on. And I also just want to say something quickly. We have quite a few new people who stepped into the room. It takes courage to step into the room and to talk, but it also, the first time's a little scary because we think everyone's judging us.
There goes that judgment thing.
Right. But the thing is that actually we're all exactly the same. We all came here for the same reason, is we wanted to be happy. We were all unhappy to a certain level, and we just wanted to find a better way to live and just hear what it's about. So to everyone who is brave enough to come, welcome. Things don't always make sense in the beginning.
Sometimes they don't make sense in the middle either.
And sometimes we never make sense, okay? That's one of my things. But we welcome. You really are the most important people in our room. And do you want to do a quick check?
Sure. Denise never talks. Good morning, Denise. Good morning. I just judged you. We're talking about judgment, so I figured I'd judge you right off the bat. How are you today?
It's a
You
little
okay?
better. It's, but I have a question, but I'll talk later.
Oh, okay.
Awesome.
So we're talking about spiritually when we say because we're always talking about that, not physically, but how you are spiritually.
Spiritually, I am where I'm supposed to be. I'm okay with that.
Wow. I love that you said
I
that.
know.
Wow. So I'm going to tell you guys a little secret. Spiritually, we're all exactly where we're supposed to be because we're there. So I guess if we were supposed to be, if the universe had conspired for us to be somewhere else or feeling something else, we would be. And so whether we're, I believe, this is my belief, whether we're going through it, or whether we're happy right now, the universe presented to us what it presented to us. And if we're happy, that's awesome. And if we're going through something, it's an opportunity for us to be learning something new. And so hopefully spiritually, we'll get to take a look at that. Then when life presents us with obstacles, that's always going to be a perfect opportunity for us to be learning something new and to grow spiritually. And you guys, when I talk about spiritually, we don't really talk too much about God or a higher power or the sunlight or the spirit or whatever your beliefs are amazing. When I use the word spiritually, I talk about being happy, about what I believe the universe wants from us.
And that's a great point, because this is not a rigid. No, it is.
For judging me so nicely.
No, because this isn't a religious program. It's whatever helps us be happy and healthy. And some of us get power from different things. It's something. Just to know that we're not the most important thing in this world, that there is something bigger than us. And sometimes we draw that energy just from being in a group and a community.
Yeah. So awesome. Allie, nice to see your face, baby.
So good to be
We're
here.
checking in spiritually. What's up, girl?
Hey,
Hey.
I feel really good spiritually
Okay.
today.
Good.
I'm good.
Okay. Nothing to share?
No.
Okay, we'll pick on you later. She always
Later,
has
I
something
know.
amazing to say or something that I'm going to yell at you about or something.
I
So
know something.
We'll check in on you later.
So we're gonna do the, talk about judgment later on. Right now, we're just
If
checking
you
in
could talk about
spiritual.
anything you want to,
Whatever
we
you
won't
want,
judge you.
Whenever you want.
Or we will. That's about us. So.
No, the beauty is you're amongst addicts, so there's no structure.
Okay.
So as it takes you on, just go for it.
Teresa?
Teresa!
I hope you're there.
Hi.
Okay, I
Oh,
interrupted you.
Teresa. Can't see her face.
Now we can holla.
There she is.
Teresa.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, let's get back to that.
So spiritually, I feel great. I just, I'm not articulate today.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that I just want to give you a little bit of kudos if I can. So spiritually, you're doing really well. You're back after we're both back, right? After some type of relapse.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter how well you think you're doing spiritually, you're still moving forward. You put yourself into the workshop.
Yeah.
So you're saying that I feel well spiritually and I want to continue to grow spiritually.
Mhm.
And that's
Exactly what I'm
awesome
saying.
for your recovery and for
Exactly what
our
I'm
recovery,
saying.
because it teaches us a lot about ourselves when we get to understand that no matter where we are, there's always opportunity to learn more about ourselves and to feel better. And so I wanted to
Sure.
commend you for that.
For sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Good morning, newbie.
Hello. Well, my name is Rob, and when you talked about fear and judgment, I mean, from the age of 11 or 12, from the age of 11 or 12, I lived in constant fear, and my security was always threatened because I was gay. And so I chose to live in the closet until I was 27, and had to present a false image to the world because of judgment. And the consequences of, when people found out was a lot of rejection and abandonment. So that was even a greater fear, so I continued to not be myself. And so the fear of just being myself was so great because it was real. There was a lot of rejection and abandonment.
And
by-
ignorance, we call that
Yeah,
ignorance
and
on the
so-
part of many.
So I'm at the point in recovery now where I have to learn how to be comfortable and okay with being myself. And if you like me, that's fine. And if you don't like me, then that's fine too.
And I'm going to ask you just to refrain.
Yeah.
Because when you talk about you have to, you don't have to do anything, so you're choosing to. And that's you moving
Yeah.
forward, right?
Okay, yeah.
So you're making a choice to feel more comfortable with yourself, and however the universe receives you for being authentic, I believe.
Yeah.
How other people receive you, sorry, but fuck them if they can't take a joke. Like, really? It's none of their business. I can't imagine judging people because of anything, let alone their who they want to hang out with, the color of their skin, their clothes, if they have money, if they don't have money, who are we? To think that I'm better than you, or you're better than him, or or whatever. It's and that, of course, that judgment is out of fear. Their judgment is out of fear, and I don't know. I didn't raise my kids like that, so I don't really understand it. And I hope for anybody that is judgmental like that you just take a look at yourself inside and know that that's something that you could get better with, because not for you, but for them. Mm-hmm. People who are super judgmental and are judging others all the time are unhappy. Yeah, right. They're unhappy. If they're accepting of the world around them and the people that they get to meet, their life is so much better, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so silly. Like, we learn that we forgive and we don't judge, not because of her, so she's going to be happier, but because of me, because it allows me to be happier. And that's what our recovery is about. Our recovery is about looking at ourselves and the way that we view the world so that we can be happy. What the rest of the world does, is really, not that it's none of our business, but there ain't nothing we could do about that.
So, one of the things that I love about us getting together is I learn so much. When people speak, it opens triggers up different things in my thought process. And here I am thinking, thank you so much for sharing. That firstly, when I'm in that state, when I'm uncomfortable, I want everyone around me being uncomfortable. And here we have people judging us that are so miserable in their world themselves, that who says that their way is the way to live, because they themselves are so miserable.
Right.
And we talk about this to you guys in the room. They say, when you're angry with somebody or you're afraid of whatever, pray for them. And I always used to think that meant, I'm going to pray that they get hit by a truck right now, so that I don't have to deal with them. And that's not it. So if we look at somebody else and we can say every day, wow, I hope that person gets happier. Because if that person gets happier, everybody around them, their worlds will be able to be a little bit lighter. Yeah. And we really do imagine if, I'm a hippie, right? I'm from that time. So if we were all happier, the world would be just a much nicer place to be in. Mm-hmm. So thanks so much for sharing.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Miss Ann, you got anything to say this morning?
I don't know that I have anything to say about judgment, but I can just say that in terms of my week, it's been good. I have been going through a lot of changes in terms of my life. Good, all good changes. So that's a little scary for me, and it's different. With school and work and different things, a lot of stuff has happened the past 2 weeks. And so I guess for me that just, I don't know, I guess I'm a little fearful, I guess. But it's all good, and I guess whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen. So yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And you had a day the other day. You've got a year clean, and just over a year clean, you felt like binging the whole entire day. We talked about that, so I'd like to bring that up for a sec.
Yeah.
So you guys, doesn't matter how much time we have. You know, obviously when I had 7 years clean, I used, so I obviously wanted to use. But we still go through times. You know, we don't have that obsession where we wake up in the morning and look for scraps of cookies or Percocets on the floor. We still do have that time where we wake up and we're like, I have absolutely no idea of why, but I want to use so badly today, you know, that I could taste it in the back of my throat. And so you did have a day like that. You talked about it the whole day. We talked about it yesterday at workshop. And you feeling better today?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
And just to add to that, what you said that, and it made me think that I'm just also really grateful to be able to go through the workshop again, because it shows you that each time you get something a little more out of it. Like, I didn't know that could, I know you say that could happen.
Yeah.
But I'm like, no, I'm fine, that's not going to happen to me, and it happened. And so it gives me something to work on.
And you really didn't think it was going to happen to you,
No.
because you've had times when we're talking about judgment where you've said, like, I can't believe, you know, like that person, like whatever. And now you can, because you felt it.
Right, I always say that because I couldn't believe it till
Yeah.
it happened.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Until you're in those shoes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and the one thing I've learned being around and listening to people sharing is I always used to have these things, I would never do that. Or I could never do that. And I've learned it's just a not yet, because as you're talking,
Yeah.
I remember those
Never
days
say
when
never.
it was the old porcelain toilets, and I can't tell you how many of the tops of those I licked. Yeah, but it's all stuff, and then I'd sit in the rooms going, I would never do that. And then when I start thinking of some of my past behaviors, I've actually done some of those things that I said I'd never do, but I justified them in another way.
yeah. Yeah, good point, actually. I've done a lot. I'd never do that, too.
Yeah,
That was
Hi, girls.
Yeah,
Huh?
I've got a
very
question.
intense
Yes.
when you just said, I wanted to use so bad I could taste it in the back of my throat.
I hate
I
that.
hate
Took
that.
me right into
I
a place.
hate that.
Yeah.
It's like, or I could feel that buzz, like,
I haven't had that yet.
that seems like a good idea at the time until you're in treatment in Tennessee. Then it's not such a good idea. Yeah. Did you have a question?
Well, I was just observing like that. And I'm not a therapist, but I'm thinking like, and this is good for me to say because it reminds me of, like, I think, you know, all people that suffer from addiction, and I speak for myself, is that, you know, you feel something is terribly, deeply wrong or flawed about you inside that makes you want to escape who you are and use drugs, any form of escape, because you're not okay with who you are. And for me, it was being gay, and self-acceptance and self-love has been the hardest thing for me, to be able to actually be myself and take that mask off, because I believe deep down inside, like I was, you know, I was a sin, and I was, you know, it was evil. That's what I was taught.
Yeah, and so you're talking about shame, and we all got it.
Yeah.
So whether you're gay, straight,
Right.
tall, short, you know, no matter what's going on, it goes back to that
Right.
shame and how we feel like for some reason we're not good enough, and we're going to learn that that reason is just the way that we view the world.
And for me, like the solution is self-love and self-acceptance and being okay with projecting who I really am and not being afraid.
And that's awesome. And so we talk about, you know, faking it till we make it, they talk about in the rooms. And I think that it's super important that we present as best as we can, as long as we're actually still talking about how we feel. Because I know for me, yeah, it's real easy for me to present super
Oh, yeah, I
well
can
no matter what I'm
completely
going through.
do that,
Yeah, and
yeah.
for me that's relapse. So, you know, we relapse long before we pick up.
Yeah.
And so we have to make sure, yeah, at work, you guys, we have to present a certain way. With our peeps here in the room, we don't have to. You know, we could actually be our authentic selves and say how we feel and work through what we need to work through, or what we choose to work through, so that we're not just walking around with that front like, hey, look at me, I'm awesome and I'm happy and I'm smiling, and inside I'm dying and I'm killing myself. So we just have to, I think that we have to be careful there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Were you gonna say something?
Yeah, I was
I'm
gonna
gonna wait till the end.
Okay.
I
I'm so excited you're gonna say something.
No, that's not it. It's because I mean, I don't want to, because there's a bunch of people and I'm not sure exactly.
Denise, speak.
No, let me finish. I'm not
Okay.
sure, because usually when you're watching on YouTube, you guys are doing the talking. So I figure everybody's listening, let you get everything out. And then
Nobody wants to hear us. They hear us all the
Yeah.
time.
And
This,
I-
this isn't the Katie and Felice show.
Yeah, it's not. Although it seems that way.
I've seen that.
All right, if you want to wait, that's cool.
Well,
Oh,
one
and next time
second.
I'll
Yes.
just jump in.
So-
So yeah.
I love what was just said, because I am different. I'm an addict, you know, and for me, I'm comfortable amongst other people who suffer from the same obsessive compulsive thoughts. And I keep a lot of that stuff in. So when I get together with you guys, I can take all that crazy that's in my head and kind of put it out through my mouth. And it helps me stay healthy, because if I keep that in my head, it always takes me to the same place where I end up hurting myself. So I just value these times to be able to meet up.
Yeah, and value the
share.
community
Yeah.
that we're in. Rachel, you're on the top left. So can you unmute yourself, Rachel?
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Welcome.
All right. A bit weird. Yeah. Self-judgment is what keeps me doing this.
What is it that you're doing, and what's your drug of choice?
Food.
Okay.
Yeah. Bulimia.
Oh, okay. We
Yeah.
hear ya.
So not a good one. No. Long time. But yeah, I've got to learn to be nice to myself, and I find that really hard.
So Rachel, my hope for you is the way that we learn to be nice to ourselves is we find out what's driving our behavior, right? So we find out what's eating you, right? What is it that you're going through, or how do you view the world that's keeping you scared? That's not allowing you to deal with the world the way that it is. That's allowing you, you know, I think at the beginning using is a choice. And then once we're in active addiction, we're kind of on autopilot. And then we're paying so close attention to our addiction and that behavior that it's almost an easy out, because we don't have to take a look at ourselves anymore. And we think if I could just stop, I would be happy. But the fact of the matter is, if I could get happy, I could stay stopped. So it's not the other way around. So do we need to stop using or binging or purging or doing whatever it is that we're doing in the beginning, so we could clean up the receptors in the brain, so that we can be a little bit clearer, so that we could start working on ourselves? Yes. But ultimately what keeps us clean isn't not using, because we got lots of people that are post-surgery and they don't use for 6 months because they literally can't, because they throw everything up. But or they can, but in different ways. But it's not about the not using part. It's about the not using part, or the not making yourself puke, right in the beginning. And then it's about learning why it is that you're so scared, and why it is that however you're feeling, the way for you to get rid of that feeling, so we think, is to binge and purge, or to eat and purge, or and why it is that we're trying to kill ourselves. Not that we're trying to kill ourselves, because we're doing a pretty good job right there, right? A pretty good job at that action. But what is it that's going on inside of me that makes me feel so bad that I don't want to be in my own skin today, right? That I'm so fearful that I'm going to do anything that I can to chemically change the way that I feel, no matter what that behavior is. Because even though it's a behavior, we know with drugs and alcohol, those are chemicals. The other behavior still triggers whatever the neuroreceptors in our brain are that allow us to feel a different way, until we get to the 2 minutes later when we just feel so shameful that we want to kill ourselves again, right?
Yeah.
So my hope for you is that you'll take the time, stay in community, and get to learn why it is that you feel the way that you feel, so that you can learn to change your perspective, so that you could get happy. thank you
Okay.
so much for being here with us today, and thank you for sharing. Really brave
Thank
of you.
So we've got our online community on Facebook. It's a closed group. It's for people who just want to join, and it doesn't cost anything. If you can't do it via Facebook, WhatsApp us, IM us, just reach out. You know, the community is there, so we're able to share with each other whenever we are feeling whatever it is. If we're feeling grateful, if we're struggling, if we just want to ask a question, we're able to do that in a safe, non-judgmental place. And also people from everywhere, people in different time zones. So there's always someone who's going to respond to you. And it's just so that we know we're not alone.
Yeah, and you know, we started this really intensive workshop. We've only had the intro to it, and so it's actually going to start on Saturday. So you can go ahead and IM any of us if you want information about that. That's a whole lot of hard work. And if you're up for it, it's a whole lot of self-discovery and a lot of times a whole lot of happy in the end. So welcome.
Welcome.
Miss Karen, what's up, girl?
Good morning.
Good morning. So
Hi.
good
You know,
to
it's
see
fun,
you.
it's funny because the topics of judgment and ego in there, they're always perfect for me, and it's funny how that happens. But I had an episode yesterday where just a very inconsequential interaction with a neighbor, and I had put myself out there a little bit, and he said, "Oh, I would never do that." And I ended up feeling like, well, I wish I hadn't said that, or I must be wrong, he must be right. You know, it's like that judgment, the ego. I want him to think well of me, and now he doesn't. I'm sure that's not even in his mind, but that's
He doesn't remember. So isn't that so funny? So you're still, when did this happen? Yesterday?
yesterday afternoon.
And you're still thinking about it today, right? We talk about ego, what's his opinion of me, right?
Yeah.
And so you're still thinking about it today. You think he's thinking about it today? No.
No,
You know, if he's like me, he don't even remember that he saw you yesterday. So,
absolutely.
right, and it's still when we're still centered on the way that the universe looks at us, instead of
Yeah.
saying, wow, you know what, today I'm gonna pat myself on the back, because you know what I did? I went out and I reached out my hand to somebody else, and I hope that dude has a great day, and let it go from there, right? And put that positivity, it's you reaching out is about you, it's not about if he received it.
Right.
Right.
And it's really, his opinion is fine. It's his opinion.
Of
And
course.
I had a different opinion, but that makes me feel less than.
God bless you. Yeah, but it just makes you different then. Just makes your opinion different then,
Right,
and that's
right.
okay. So if we have 100 people, maybe 50 people have your opinion, maybe 50 people have his opinion. I can guarantee you 99 people don't care about the conversation at all. So Angela and I used to go through a thing where she'd say something to me and I'd say, I don't care. And it used to make her crazy. But the thing is,
How can you not care?
I didn't care because it didn't change anything in my entire world. Nor was I going to remember it in 2 seconds. So, and that's the way that the world is around us. And we take it to heart personally when we feel like
Absolutely.
if you don't love me and accept me, it's because I'm not worth loving and accepting.
Uh-huh.
Right? That's the way that we look at it. But that's not true. Right? We're as worth it as we decide that we are. Because our only opinion of ourselves is our own opinion of ourselves.
Right.
So when I stop listening to what I think, and remember, it's a whole fantasy you got going on in your head.
Oh, yeah.
He
oh,
could
yeah, I've
think
got a
you're-
whole story in my head.
He could think you're the best thing since sliced bread, and he hope you leave your husband of 10,000 years and walk across the street and marry him. Or he could think you're an idiot, or he could not remember what your name is, and none of that matters. What matters is you presented yourself authentically. You put out your opinion or your whatever authentically, and that's where it ends. Because remember, I put out some energy, right? No matter how it's received, it's received. If I take somebody else's energy back and turn it into negativity, I just got rid of the positivity I just let go of. Be positive. That's all you're responsible for, right?
Right.
And I'm sorry to say, but his opinion of you is none of your business,
That's right.
right?
And at least I was able to go, that felt crappy, but at least I was able to know it in my head instead of just feeling crappy.
And it's so awesome because you talk about it right away, because before the first workshop, when I used to talk to you, it would be something that would be not only because you're presenting like kind of goofy this morning, this happened, you know, and talking about it. Whereas before, I think you would have really taken it to heart a whole lot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So good for you. And I'm really happy to see that growth in you. So that's awesome.
Thank you.
Laura? Hi, Laura. Hi, can you unmute yourself, please?
Do you want to just tell me?
Hi.
There you are. Hi, Laura. How are you?
Welcome.
Hi, good, thank you.
Where are you here from?
I'm sort of a hot mess. So a couple things are going on. I am scheduled to have surgery a week from tomorrow.
Okay.
And I'm, nervous about that.
Of course.
And then last night I did a very normal thing that I will do. So I went out to dinner with my husband to one of our favorite pizza places.
Uh-huh.
And I eat and I eat and I eat and I eat. And I'm thinking, I'm trying to be aware of what my internal dialogue is. And, I just feel like maybe I choose not to have control. Maybe that's the correct word. Maybe I choose not to have, I don't know. But I feel completely out of control.
So that's because you're completely out of control and you're in active addiction. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, and I'm not gonna present this nicely because for you it's gonna be a matter of life and death. It's gonna behoove you to get yourself very involved in a recovery community, so that with some of the girls here, they had bariatric surgery and actually were immersed into recovery right away. Because what's going to happen is in the beginning, you're not going to be able to eat, and
Right.
that'll happen, and you're going to lose weight. But the same head that you have on your shoulders right now
Right.
is going to be the same head that's going to be on your shoulders after your
Yeah.
surgery. And so what'll happen is I see patients in my office day after day after day after day, zillions of them, who are post-surgery, and of course lost 100 pounds and then gained 150 back. Because
Yeah.
as they say, if nothing changes, nothing changes. Your
Mm-hmm.
weight doesn't have anything to do with what you're eating. Your weight has to do with why you're doing what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So you will become abstinent for a while because your surgery will allow you that. But if you don't change what's happening up here, you will never change your behavior.
Yeah.
Right. And that's about recovery. It's not about not eating. And again, I'm going to go back to the story, which I go back to a zillion times about Haiti. But she was like 100 pounds down. And I came into the house one day and she was crying. And I'm like, yeah, you look awesome. Like you've lost 100 pounds. How you
Right.
feeling? How you feeling? And she was crying and she was scared and she was sick and she was suffering because she hadn't yet realized that 100%, not 90%, but 100% of what she was doing and what had put her there in the first place was right here in her head. Yeah.
So, Laura, I just wanted to also share a couple of things with you. One is for many of us going into surgery, it's at last we think that we're going to use and we overuse and we start panicking because I know I had a lot of thoughts before I did it. I know I needed to do it for me to be healthy because I was so sick.
Absolutely.
I was
Right.
dying. I was killing myself. I couldn't walk. I couldn't move without being in pain. I was so
Right.
overweight. And not only was I overweight, but I was sick on the inside and I was sick on
Yeah.
upstairs as well. And then I also started carrying a lot of resentments because there was a lot of fear going into it because I didn't know what I was going into. And I knew my whole life was going to change forever. That's why I
Yes.
was doing this.
Yes.
But I also knew I needed to make a change and I didn't know what that really looked like because I'd been going around the rooms, but I never internalized recovery. And also I started carrying a lot of resentment afterwards because I couldn't eat the way that I wanted to eat or the way I had been eating. And I also couldn't have the relationships that I was having afterwards because things needed to change. The way I coped with stress and the way I coped and lived in the world around me had to shift and change. And what you're doing is such a positive step and very courageous that you're doing this now because you're getting the support. To have that support and already be around people who've been through what you're going to go through. Because for many of us go through the same thing,
Yeah.
You know, the people around us are used to us also behaving in a certain way. And everything changed in my world. I mean, it was a whole lot of stuff, a lot of coping tools that I needed to learn in the interim, besides dealing with these obsessive thoughts as an addict, because my addiction has a voice, and it was talking to me, and it was screaming at me, and it was telling me I couldn't do this, and why was I doing this? And I was having all these internal things.
Yeah.
And to sit with that stuff in your head just keeps you sick. And to be able to step in the rooms and go, do you know what, I'm having these crazy thoughts and this is where I'm at, you'll find how so many people can relate to where you are now. And just really thank you so much for sharing. And honestly, we're here for you. You know, we're here holding your hand. We're here, anything you want to ask. Many of us have been where you are.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you guys, when you're having that surgery, it's kind of like living in a treatment center. Right? And so I lived in a treatment center, first time for 6 months. And it kind of keeps you safe, you know, because you're around people that aren't using, and that's what the surgery does for you, right? So it does allow you to lose the weight so that you don't have to be physically sick, right? Because you're going to get physically sick if you don't lose the weight. And so that's kind of like being in a place where it makes it kind of safer. And then one day we need to walk out into the real world. The thing about when you're in a treatment center is, which is really why I wanted to open up an obesity recovery treatment center. But the thing about being in a treatment center is that you're also learning recovery.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got that available to you right at your fingertips.
Great.
And like Haiti said, you know, there are people that you could reach out to in this community that not only are so willing to help you, but in actuality, you reaching out helps them in their recovery as well. Mm-hmm. And so you never have to feel like, oh, I don't want to call this person because, you know, it's always a win-win for everybody. And I'm going to tell you, Laura, that right now you look petrified. And I'm going to tell you that, that you're being incredibly brave showing up here a week before your surgery. And what you're showing right now is the willingness to change, or you wouldn't be here today. Right? You'd be saying, oh, I have this quick fix and it's going to end there. But you know that that's not true, and that's awesome. And so we talked yesterday at workshop, we talked about how, you know, recovery isn't for people who want it, and it's not for people who need it, because we all need it and we all want it. It's for people who are willing to do whatever it takes to change what they need to change so they could be happy.
Yeah.
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 And so good job, you. I'm really proud of you.
Thank you. Thank
Good
you.
for you. Really, really nice to see you.
Thank you.
Teresa, unmute yourself. Hi. I haven't seen you in so long.
I know.
What's going on, girl?
Hey, it's so good to be here. It's so good to see you guys. I've been traveling back and forth to the West Coast, so I have been doing what I do, and I'm finding myself really knowing that this is where I need to be, because left to my own devices, I'm a mess. So yeah, I'll string a couple of days, a couple of weeks, even a month, and then all of a sudden, you know, I'm back in it again. Mm-hmm. And the judgment piece is self-judgment and self-criticism and self-loathing and all the things that I thought I left long ago. And that's not the case. They're right there waiting to take me down at any given moment. So I need community. I need this community. And, you know, I'm just really glad that you know, and everything, I'm just really glad that I tuned in today, so to speak, because, you know, I was getting coffee ready, and I didn't have everything I wanted when I was sitting down here, and I'm like, well, I'm not ready, and, you know, all the things talking to me about, oh, we'll do it next week. Oh, we'll do it next week. Oh, I'll be late, nobody will mind. You know, all the things, all the chatter that goes on inside my head was alive and well and living between my ears, you know? So I set that aside and said, okay, I'm going to do this. And I'm so grateful that I did. I've already heard a lot of good things. And
so we've
Excuse me?
We've known each other for a long time, and
Yes.
we've been in and out of active addiction. You're in active addiction right now. And I'm going to challenge you to just say it. I'm in active addiction right now. Say it.
I am. I'm in active addiction right now.
Right. Okay. Congratulations for saying that. You know, Teresa, you write beautifully and you speak beautifully. So anytime I touch base with you, you always have something wonderfully presented. You know what I mean? When you're talking or when you're writing, everything is on the outside is awesome and on the inside is fear. Right? You know, you guys, I love when they say in the room, incomprehensible demoralization. You know, every time I hear that incomprehensible demoralization, I'm like, here, right? Every time that, for sure when we're using, and at times in our sobriety as well. And the thing is that when we have any kind of when we're walking around with fear, that self-loathing or whatever, and we're getting the recovery part of it, we get to feel it without using, which double sucks, right? But we learn to go through those stages where we're still having those fears or those negative feelings without picking up, and learn to start to get better. I'm going to challenge you to stop looking so good on the outside, which is how you're presenting yourself authentically today. And I know you, and I know who you are. And so it's beautiful and wonderful and awesome to see that from you today. And I'm so glad that you're here. Teresa and I have been friends for a long time. And I'm super glad that you're here. You've got a lot to share with the community, man. So show up. Okay?
It. I love seeing you here. It is so awesome seeing your face. I also wanted you touch on so many good things. And one of the things is not all of us get that second chance. You know, for us, as much you stepping into the call today is such a great step. Even though you didn't feel like it and you didn't want to, you put yourself here because you knew it was the best place for you. And for some of us as addicts, we don't get that second chance. You know, addiction wants us dead. You know, some of us die not making it into the rooms, and some of us die not knowing what it was, that there was a solution to where we were. And no one's saying that it's easy and that it's going to be a piece of cake, but the thing is, there is another option.
No cake. No cake. No cake. And
piece of cake?
No cake. And no piece of cake. But and so
I'm an addict.
Yeah. All of us know, I think, somewhere out there that there's something different, and I think that most of us think that it's impossible. You know, that it's just not going to happen for me, because I'm so stuck and I'm so behind the 8 ball, and I can't and I'm not going to be able to be where they are or be where it is that I would like to be. And that's never true. And because we're addicts, we want to show up today and then tomorrow be down 100 pounds or be, you know, out of our post-acute withdrawal, you know, symptoms or whatever, you know, the stuff that takes 6 months to a year, we want to be done in 6 minutes, because after all, you did show up and you were on the call, so you should be all better now, right? Right?
Yeah, exactly. And you know, I know I've lost 100 pounds.
I know.
I've lost 100 pounds using the 12-step programs. And I kept it off for a long time, and then life handed me something that, for whatever reason, in that moment, I picked up something that led to my gaining that weight back. Not only that weight, but probably another 40 or 50 pounds more. And you know, and then I lost 70 of it, and then somebody said, and this is what I'm telling you this because this is what this disease does to you. This is what addiction does to you. I was working with a sponsor who was very strict. I had committed myself to a particular program that I would commit my food every day and not change anything. And if I chose to change something, I was supposed to call ahead of time before I changed it. And I agreed to that, and I did that. And on this particular day, the Italian in me was rising to the surface saying, I want lasagna. But I was going to do it abstinently. I was going to use my food plan and use vegetables for the noodles and put the whole thing together, weigh and measure the whole thing. And I said I wanted to do this. And I called her and I said, I'm going to change my dinner meal. And she said, no, you're not. I said, yes, I am. She said, no, you're not. I said, F you. I hung up the phone. I had my lasagna, and I never went back to that sponsor. And to spite her, I gained that 70 pounds back.
Yeah, and so
I didn't hurt her.
A couple
she
of,
gave me crap when I I was having for dinner. But because she told me no, and I was stamping my feet like a little baby, I put myself back in active addiction, and it's been a roller coaster ride ever since that moment. So.
And Teresa, so when you talk about it, and that's when you have a sponsor and that's all you're talking about is the food, it's not about the food. It's about what was driving you that day that made you stomp your feet. It's not about what you picked up. It's about why did you pick up, right? What were you fighting what were you fighting against yourself with that day? You know, that you needed to reach out to someone and say, today I'm walking around in fear, or I feel sorry for myself, or I hate myself, or you know, I don't like the world that I'm living in. I'm afraid of something. I need help, you know, because you didn't need lasagna, you needed help. Yeah.
I love that the subject today is actually judgment, because I'm an addict. So I will pick up anything that will change how I feel. It doesn't matter what it is. If it's food, sex, I'm smoking, whatever it is, drugs, I will pick it up to change how I feel. So addiction is really addiction. It doesn't matter what it is that we're picking up. But as food addicts, we judge other addictions as far worse as ours, because we come from that diet mentality that we can start again on Monday, and it's this bullshit that we've told ourselves that it's not as serious, we're not landing up the same way as heroin would take you and as quickly. So we feed the same lie into our brain that keeps us sick and keeps us in the same place, and it's really until we shift that paradigm and see addiction as a deadly disease that wants us dead. Doesn't matter what we're picking up. It's the reasons at the end of the day of why do we need to change the way that we feel, and that compulsion, that obsession with whatever that substance is, that we can't get rid of it, and how do we get healthy, and how do we live happy, and how do we be the people that we see ourselves being, instead of living with the shame and this guilt and not being able to look people in the eyes straight away and smiling and feeling joy and compassion and all those things that make the day beautiful. We end up saying things we don't mean and doing things we don't want to do, instead of being able to turn around and really just enjoy the moment, because there are no guarantees. How long does this carry on for before it actually shifts and changes?
Yeah,
you know, I'm 53 years old.
So you're old and you are an
I'm
addict.
old and I'm
oh my God.
I know.
You guys, yesterday for a second we touched on dream boards. And Teresa, you know how every time you make a dream board, you talk about the stuff that you want. I'm going to have the big house, and I'm going to have the 2.4 kids, and I'm going to have these grandkids, and I'm going to be in this car, and I'm going to have this job. No one ever does a dream board about where I'm going to be spiritually next year. Where do I hope to be? What does happy, joyous, and free look like for me? Not the stuff that I got. And that's one of the things in recovery too, is going to teach us more to focus on where we want to be spiritually, so that we could be of service, right? Because when we're up for this addict, when I'm of service is when I'm at my best, right? And how can I be of service? I need to be my best, or doing my best to do my best so that I can be of service. Love you, Teresa.
And just one thing. Can we have a challenge to everyone?
We're doing it in a workshop.
Well, besides the workshop. So can we also have a challenge that people post their service, what they've been of service and doing?
Oh, yeah, so I interrupted you.
Yeah, until Wednesday, whatever you did to be of service, post it, because you might inspire someone else to do something. And it doesn't matter if it is opening up the door for someone, smiling at someone who's having a crappy day. It doesn't matter. It's just something that you're doing for someone else that makes you feel good on the inside just because you did it.
Yeah, because you were doing your best to do your best and putting some positive energy out there into the universe. Yes, ma'am. I'm going to go that way.
I just have a question based on what you were just saying, and also from what I observed, like as you know, we have the page and people commenting and that kind of stuff. So you and I, you've been my sponsor for a little over a year, and I don't think you and I have ever had a conversation about food.
Never.
No, never.
Never, unless you want to use.
Right,
That's
and then
the only time we
like
talk about food.
15-second, literal 15-second. I want this. Your thing is okay. Well, do you want to be?
Whatever.
Yeah, right. And so because for us, it a lot of obviously it's eating, it's abstaining from starch, right? So what advice would you give people in that respect? Because I think there's a little bit of a struggle with that, and how much of it is the food and how much is not. And I get it. I'm not necessarily asking for me, but is there something you could say to help
Yeah,
others?
there's a 10-second answer for this. In the beginning, you got to get abstinent to clean out the receptors and neurotransmitters in the brain. That's the way that it works. So we're all abstinent. We get recovery. So we get abstinent so that we could step into a recovery program. And once we're in recovery, we will not use because we're in recovery. Then it doesn't have to do with abstinence anymore. We stay abstinent because we're not picking up, because we understand through recovery that once we're feeling better, we don't need to pick up whatever it is that we were picking up. Yes.
So for the people who have food as an issue, that haven't had surgery, that deal with the food issue as well, we are not a diet or nutritional group. I get the professional help that I need. I see the psychiatrist. If your food is an issue that is an obsession for you and you don't know what a portion looks like or what you should be consuming, go to a nutritionist who deals with people in addiction. Go get food plans, do the stuff that you need to do to stay healthy. And if that's an obsession and you need to have a food plan that helps you not obsess about the food during the day, do whatever makes you feel healthy. But this isn't the place when we're going to go and say, these are the things you need to do, because that's not the way that we roll here.
Right. The only thing that I will say medically is that you need to start off by being abstinent so that those neurotransmitters in your head can relax, because otherwise you're going to have that physical craving and mental obsession, that as long as I'm feeding those neurotransmitters, that's what's happening. Yes.
I have a question.
Okay.
So, if I learn to like really love who I am and really accept who I am, and not try and say if I'm thinner or if I'm in better shape or if I'm younger, if you get some Botox done, then this person will love me, and then if this person loves me, then I can love myself. Or the world will accept me and they will love me if I'm thinner and if I'm younger and if I look younger. And so I want to try and do everything so that you'll love me or the world will love me. But if I learn to just love myself and accept myself and say, I'm not perfect, I'm never going to be perfect, but you know what, I'm not bad and I'm okay and things are going to be okay, and learn to really build that self-esteem and self-love, will the obsession and will the addiction go away?
So the obsession, yes. Will the addiction go away? You guys, you're an addict till you die. Your addiction ain't going away. There is nothing chemically in our brain that allows us to have one.
I don't like that you just said
I
that.
know, and that's
what's
tough
the
shit.
point?
So
What's the point in doing it then?
So
if it doesn't
remember
go away? I'm not going to waste my time and do it then.
Right, and we're goofing about that, but in actuality, though, we'll always be addicts. So will I ever be able to do a shot on Saturday night? No.
Oh no, not about doing it.
Because
but if I really am comfortable with who I am and I learn to love myself and accept myself, doesn't all that other crap go away?
So
here's
the
I don't
thing.
want to do anything.
Yeah. So you don't want to? I don't know. So even when I had great recovery in my first what I considered great recovery, and I was pretty happy in my first 5 years, did I wake up every once in a while and say, I don't know what's going on, but I give my left arm right now for 100 milligrams of oxycodone? Yeah, I did. Did I obsess about it all day? No, I didn't. Did I reach out or text somebody and say, I really feel like using today? Yes, I did. And then bam, it went away. Okay. My brain is wired the way that my brain is wired. But again, did I wake up in the morning and think, oh my God, I have to go check, underneath the bathroom sink and in between here, and maybe I dropped something on the floor, and maybe there's something here, and maybe if I can't get in touch with, no, I don't have that anymore. So as far as that going away, and remember, we talk about loving ourselves, we're going to talk about letting go of fear. Because all of that other stuff comes once we learn to see the world differently. And so when we say, I'm going to learn to love myself, that comes after I'm going to learn to let go of fear and have a different perspective about the way that I view the world. Because once I can do that, then I don't have to hate myself no more. Then I can love myself. Yes.
And this also comes back to conversations that we've had. It's also the motivation. So if I'm doing things because I like working out and I feel good because I'm eating healthy and I'm not a food addict, okay, and I'm doing things for me that make me feel good on the inside, not because of anyone else, or I'm not motivated to get you to like me or do other things, because of makes me happy, it's great for us to be happy. I mean, at the end of the day, it's really about being happy. I'm always going to be an addict. I would love the days I fucking hate being an addict, the days I don't want to be an addict. But the thing is, I know, and I've done enough research out there, that one just never stays at one.
Yeah, and that's what he was saying. He wasn't talking about the actual music.
Like
So-
you will be in a good intention with a good motive,
but at the end of
it might switch.
And at the end of the day, the things that we do give us the choices to be happy and healthy.
Right, and to know that we don't have to pick up. Once we're clean and once we've got some recovery, we'll understand that no matter what's going on in the world, it's 5-minute warning, no matter what's going on in the world, that we don't have to. We don't have to pick up, that we could choose not to pick up, that we could stay tight with the community, close to our community, present the way that we need to, get the help that we need to, maybe just reach out our hand and help somebody else out, which always takes us out of our own head, right? But will am I still gonna have bad days? Yeah, no matter how much recovery I got. And am I gonna wake up sometimes in the morning and say, I can't believe I did that, or I said that, or whatever? Yeah, I'm still gonna have that. I'm a human being. Am I still going to react to situations? Yes, I am. Is it gonna happen less? Yes, it will. Am I gonna sit in my own shit for a shorter period of time? Yeah. I'll learn to do that and learn that that's my choice. Denise, I'm gonna get back with you now. Yes?
Just 1 second.
1 second.
1 second. So one of the things that we do every single day, just touching on not every day is a great day, but there are at least 3 things we can be grateful for every single day, and we tend to share that in our community. 3 things we're grateful for and our strength for the day. So post it on What's Eating You. We do that. It's a challenge to everyone in our community.
Yeah, so do that. Thank you. Denise.
I'm glad I waited because a lot of the thoughts I had already got answered. So it worked out perfect. Initially, I heard Teresa say the self-loathing. I realized when I don't. Let me see what it is. You have good days and bad days. So if I wake up one day and I'm happy, I'm like, okay, perfect. And I put it in the universe. I'm gonna have a good day, and Lord knows everything goes wrong, and I still have a good day.
Right. So the world still presents itself, and you still have a good day because you decided to.
Exactly.
Okay.
But I think that when I am not physically here, because even when I pull it up on YouTube, whatever the case may be, I notice when I am not here, like physically coming
in the
through
room,
the door, that the self-loathing and everything else tends to manifest itself daily. That makes sense. So I like the fact that you can come here and unmask and be yourself, not necessarily hiding from the world, but everything that's in your mind that you think that you're alone, or you think that, okay, I'm the only one thinking this madness. When you come into the room and you're like, oh, wow, yeah.
We're not that unique or special, right? There's a whole lot of crazy going on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the crazy because it's strength in numbers.
Yeah.
And you brought up such a great point. You know, when you live stream on Facebook, it's like watching a soap drama. Really.
Soap opera. We call them soap opera in this country. And she's old and she's married.
Right. So the thing is, you're totally disconnected because you can watch this and you can wash the dishes and do all the other stuff. When you step into the room on Zoom, even though you're not here, you still participating. You're here in the room with us. And when you're physically in the room, it's the same way as participating in Zoom. It's a totally different energy because firstly, you made an effort to step into your recovery. Instead of just watching other people going through recovery, and it's that first sense of being willing and open to actually doing something different. It takes a lot of courage to step into the room. So I invite everyone. Wednesday night is when we have our next meeting. I mean
Thursday night.
Sorry, we now changed
and
to Thursday.
she's forgetful.
Listen, I'm old, okay? I can't tell you. So Thursday
and an addict.
And an addict, okay? Life's always interesting. So we meet up at 7 o'clock on Thursdays, Eastern Standard Time. We get together on Sundays at 9 to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time as well. You're welcome to join us in the room if you're in Southeast Florida, or if you want to drive over, come join us. We also have our workshop. It's a small group workshop, and it really is very special.
Yeah, very intense recovery, you guys. It's not for everybody. As all you guys know, I'm kind of abrasive. And that's because recovery, for me is a matter of life and death. You know, it's not like a ha-ha and let me, pet you on the head, because it's a matter of life and death. And so we step into that room, into that classroom, it's actually more of a recovery mastermind. And we get to hear from other people who do share their experience, strength, and hope. in a more private group, and we get to all learn from each other, and I get to beat y'all up. But it's an amazing experience, and anybody who wants any kind of information, just go ahead and IM us, or if you have my number, call me. Or
And it's last
whatever.
week to sign up for that.
Last week.
Because this is every second week, and it's for the next couple. It's quite a long process.
Yeah,
So,
it's a long time.
right. So we're coming to the end. It's ready to the end.
Oh, and I get to read the promises. It's already 10. So I'm going to read the promises, even though I can't see. But this is from the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, and I read it because I choose to and because I love it and because these promises come true. If we are painstaking about this phase of our development, we will be amazed before we are halfway through. We are going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. We will not regret the past, nor wish to shut the door on it. We will comprehend the word serenity, and we will know peace. No matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit others. That feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. We will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellows. Self-seeking will slip away. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. We will intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us. We will suddenly realize that the universe does for us what we can't do for ourselves. Are these extravagant promises? We don't think so. They're being fulfilled among us, sometimes quickly and sometimes slowly, but they always materialize if we work for them. My name is Felice. I'm so blessed and grateful to be in recovery. I'm so blessed and grateful for everybody that's here. Thank you for sharing your recovery with me. It keeps me strong in mind.
My name is Heidi, and I'm blessed and grateful to be in recovery. Thank you for allowing us to be of service as well. And also, if no one's told you today that they love you, I love you. We will see you on Wednesday. Have a beautiful week.
Peace out, you guys.
Everybody.
Thursday.
I mean, Thursday.
Oh, what are we gonna do?
Thank you.
Need cue cards.